What's going on, N-Health family? Nick and Jordana here with another episode, and this week we're going to change it up a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but this whole Bulletproof coffee trend seems cool, but I don't know anything about it. And one thing I've learned about nutrition and health, working with Jordana here, is we should probably ask some questions before we dive into something head first. I hear, especially from like some top-level podcast people who are into the whole like health and fitness and nootropic world, that it's good for you, but they also say a lot of other stuff too that could be biased or whatever. So I thought we'd ask Jordana today what it's all about.
Yeah, so great question. I think that just to answer in general, if it's good for you, it really depends on the type of person that you are. So for some people, Bulletproof coffee is kind of like a magic pill, and it's like it does everything. And then for others, it's not so great, and it really comes down to how well your liver functions, because Bulletproof coffee essentially uses high fat.
Yep.
So it's a part of the ketogenic style diet, and if your liver is a little bit compromised or blocked, then a high fat diet is not going to be the right choice for you. However, Bulletproof coffee has so many benefits. It's a really great pre-workout, actually.
Yes.
So I'll just tell you a little bit about like what goes into it and then why it's so beneficial. So the main component, or like the medicinal component in Bulletproof coffee, is MCT oil. So MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride. Triglyceride is just a fancy word for fat. So you have like short chain, medium chain, and long chain triglycerides. So medium chain triglycerides are really interesting because they actually cannot be absorbed by the body. So essentially they just like travel in your bloodstream, and they actually pull fat from adipose tissue and put it into your bloodstream to use for energy.
Okay.
So not only is this going to help to produce energy on its own, like it's like you can use fat to make energy, right, to make ATP, but it's actually going to force the body to actually use stored fat to use for energy.
So that makes a lot of sense in terms of like a pre-workout.
Yeah.
Because with like oxidative aspect of fat burning and stuff like that, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's great, and it's really like the reason why it's so popular is because it's really good for energy as well as weight loss. So if you're using stored fat, then you're also going to feel really satiated.
Yes.
So you're not going to be very hungry. So what you're going to do is essentially you're going to take like some coffee, and you're going to put it in the blender.
Yeah, put about half of that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. And then you're going to take about a tablespoon of the MCT.
Before we jump in, I did notice you had a powdered version of MCT oil as well.
Yeah.
Is there a difference for anyone who's interested in this?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think it's more of a preference thing.
Okay.
So like this is the original form of the MCT oil, the oil. And the thing with the oil is that it does need to be kept in a place that's like not going to create a lot of oxidative stress.
Yeah.
So like not a lot of heat as well as not a lot of light.
It's in your pantry or something?
Exactly.
Probably.
Yeah, just like the other oils, or else it can become denatured. Also, if you're traveling, the powder version might be more beneficial.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not going to spill in your luggage.
Yeah, or if you're like, if you want to make this coffee at work, like bringing the powder is going to be a lot easier than like bringing like a tablespoon.
It's going to like blend a little easier too, I think, probably.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so one thing I should actually probably mention is that the reason why it's so beneficial with coffee is because caffeine is a circulatory stimulant, so which means that it's going to like push circulation up to like all of the nooks and crannies of your body, from the brain all the way down to the toes. So in combination with the MCT oil, it actually like kind of shuttles the MCT oil to different areas of the body. It's also really great for focus because, as we know, the brain is 60% fat. So you're like simultaneously feeding the brain, and with the coffee, you're actually getting the MCT into the cells.
Sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. So if you...
I was going to say, I do know, I've heard that like coconut oils and MCT oils can be a little reactive for people who aren't necessarily used to it. Is there like a dosing measure that you'd want to recommend? Like maybe not dive right into the highest dose first possibly, or like what would be some good things to do? Because I've just heard some weird stories, if you will, about like, I tried some coconut oil today and it's like, didn't go well at all. I had to go home early from work and...
Bump right through you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So... Any like words of warning or anything like that for people as they enter this?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not comfortable, or like if you haven't kind of adapted your body to more of a high fat style, I would start with half the dose. So a typical dose of MCT oil is going to be 1 tablespoon per like cup of coffee. So you could start with half, and then depending on how you react to fats in general, everybody's going to be different, right? But I would just start with half a tablespoon and then move up to a full tablespoon.
That sounds like a good idea,
for
sure. So
I'm going to just like eyeball it.
A little bit of a splash.
Yeah, like there's two of us.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Okay.
If not, well, we'll see what happens later.
Okay. Some other things that you can put in there. So typically, what you would do, like a proper bulletproof coffee has uses butter.
Yes.
You don't technically need to use the butter, and because most people are dairy free, I typically do it without the butter.
Could you use like a ghee or a clarified butter if that's different, or?
Yeah, like
it's not really a big difference, really, or?
What the butter's going to do is it's going to make it more satiating.
Okay.
So that's the part that's going to make you feel more full long term. But if that's not really something that you're concerned with, then you can really just do the MCT oil.
Okay.
And then there's some other really great things that you can implement. So putting some maca in there. So maca is really good for like beginning of the day and also pre-workout. So maca is really good for helping to boost energy as well as libido and mood. It's an adaptogen, which means it's going to balance the body. So if you are low, it's going to help to bring you up. If you're up, it's going to help to bring you like right back to balance. And it's really good for both men and women. It balances hormones. So yeah, so this is, I like to, because I usually do this for like a pre-workout. So I like to put about, like, we'll follow the instructions, but it's usually a scoop or a tablespoon.
Grab you a spoon from our kitchen here. Hopefully.
Oh, there's actually a scoop in here.
Oh, there is? Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to want to use like one level scoop. You can put it in there. Now, Nutridom actually has many different kinds of maca. I'm just using this one because this is a more like generalized one.
Okay.
But there's also the black maca, and then there's maca that's specific for men and women, so you can kind of like play around.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about maca in previous videos.
Yeah, so we have, for sure.
Go ahead and watch those.
Yeah, and then the last thing would be you could put in some collagen. So collagen's really great for, collagen is essentially just like the parts in between our bones, so it creates cushion in between our joints. It's also like the beginning points of hair, skin, and nails.
Yeah.
And as well, really good for gut. Like it helps to heal the intestinal wall and the gut lining. So the reason why you would add this in something like a bulletproof coffee is to, especially if you're using it for pre-workout, just to give the joints more of a cushion, so you're not like creating any injuries.
And like kind of aid in recovery a little bit.
Absolutely.
Cool. That sounds really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being sore for less time sounds like a really good idea.
And there's a scoop in this one as well, so you don't even need to worry about it. So again, just like one scoop.
All right, and that's all of our ingredients.
Gucci, yeah.
So the next step would be blending it, just to make sure that you emulsify the fat. That's just purely for texture and flavor.
Absolutely.
Like, that way you're just not chewing on fat.
I like highly recommend it though, because if not, then the fat does tend to separate to the top. So.
And the nice thing, we'll talk about that. Be a little. So the fun thing is it looks like a latte.
Yeah.
So you're not depriving yourself of like any kind of sensory. It gets like a nice froth on it. It's actually really tasty. I love bulletproof coffee from that perspective. Yeah. So, I mean, we made it, so let's enjoy it,
Absolutely. One thing that I should probably mention is that the benefits of doing any type of like style diet, or the benefits of doing like anything high fat, is going to force the body to use fat for energy instead of sugar. So a really important factor when you're making this coffee is just to make sure you're not using any type of sweetener. Even things like honey, like natural sweeteners, are still going to kind of inhibit the way that the body's going to use fat for energy.
Now, I did notice the maca has a bit of an interesting flavor and smell to it that almost seems a little sweet, to me at least.
Yeah.
So it might add a little bit of flavor boost there.
It could, yeah. Okay. Some people love the taste of maca, some people don't. It's kind of more of an acquired taste. It's a little bit like earthy for me. But honestly, with the coffee and the MCT, like I don't taste it at all.
I gotta say, it looks delicious.
Looks so good.
Let's enjoy
Ready?
it. Cheers. It's really good.
Yeah.
Nice frothy, like it
Oh,
literally
so
tastes like a latte.
It's so good.
So, if you guys have any questions about this, obviously feel free to comment below and we'll answer them, as it's a recipe, so it's a little bit of different territory for us than we're used to. But yeah, otherwise, we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.